Ambassador Chen Wei stood in the grand chamber of the Galactic Council and felt very small. The room stretched high above her, built for species much larger than humans. 47 different alien races sat in curved rows around her, looking down from their elevated seats. Some had multiple eyes, others had skin that glowed. A few didn't even have bodies she could recognize. She had been coming to this chamber for 5 years now. Every time she asked for the same thing. Every time they said no. "The Council has reached a decision," announced High Arbiter Vexnor. The tall, blue-skinned Thessian spoke with a voice that echoed inside Chen's mind. Telepathy made her uncomfortable, but she kept her face calm. Humanity's request for full membership is denied. Again. Chen felt her jaw tighten but said nothing. Furthermore, Vexnor continued, new restrictions will be placed on human expansion. Humanity will remain within the Sol system. Any movement beyond will be considered an act of aggression. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Admiral Crixthor of the Vraxian Empire clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. The insectoid warrior had been pushing for these restrictions for years. His species believed in strength, and they saw humans as dangerous animals that needed cages. "We have tolerated your species for 50 years, Crixthor said, his voice harsh and buzzing. "You are violent, unpredictable. Your history is written in blood. 3 world wars before you even left your planet. Nuclear weapons used on your own people." "That was centuries ago," Chen replied quietly. "We've changed, have you?" The question came from Counselor Thessara, another Thessian. "Your ships patrol your borders armed with enough firepower to crack planets. Your Marines train for combat every day. Your entertainment celebrates warfare," Chen wanted to argue. She wanted to point out that the Vraxians had conquered 12 species, that the Korath Dominion kept slave worlds, that half the council members had done worse things than humanity ever dreamed of. But she had learned that arguing accomplished nothing here. "What exactly are you proposing?" she asked instead. Vexnor's face remained expressionless. "Protective custodianship. Humanity will submit to council oversight. Your military will be reduced. Your shipyards will be monitored. Your expansion will be managed by more responsible species." The room fell silent. Everyone waited for Chen's response. Protective custodianship. A pretty name for slavery. For 50 years, humanity had tried to join the galactic community properly. They had followed every rule, attended every meeting, made every compromise, and still, the council treated them like children. Dangerous children who needed to be controlled. Chen thought about Earth, about the billions of people who looked to the stars with hope, about the colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter, where humans built new lives far from their cradle world, about the scientists and explorers who pushed forward every day, trying to prove humanity deserved its place among the stars. She thought about the secret that waited in the darkness beyond Pluto. "We accept your terms," Chen said calmly. The chamber erupted in surprised whispers. Crixthor leaned forward in his seat, suspicious. Even Vexnor seemed caught off guard. "You accept?" the High Arbiter asked. "We do," Chen confirmed. "However, we need 6 months to prepare for this transition. Our government must approve it. Our colonies must be informed. We need time to arrange the reduction of our military and open our shipyards for inspection." Vexnor exchanged glances with other council members. 6 months seemed reasonable. More than reasonable, actually. Most had expected the humans to refuse outright, giving the council an excuse to impose sanctions or even military action. 6 months is acceptable, Vexnor agreed. But understand, Ambassador Chen, if humanity attempts any aggressive action during this period, the consequences will be severe. The Vraxian 4th Fleet will be positioned near your system to ensure compliance. "We understand," Chen said. She bowed slightly, a human gesture of respect. "Thank you, High Arbiter. The Council's wisdom guides us all." The session ended. Chen walked out of the chamber with her head high and her hand steady, though inside she felt a storm of emotions. Anger, frustration, and something else. Something the Council would never expect from humanity. Hope. She returned to her quarters on Nexus Prime Station. The rooms were small, designed for species more important than a probationary member. She sat at her desk and activated her personal terminal, entering a series of encryption codes that changed daily. A screen appeared, showing only a simple text interface. No video, no audio. Just words Chen typed carefully. "Olympus Protocol is authorized. Time to show them what we've been building in the dark. She sent the message and leaned back in her chair. Somewhere beyond Pluto, beyond the edge of the solar system where no alien spy satellite could see, 12 massive shapes waited in the cold and the black. Ships like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Ships built with technology the Council claimed was impossible. For 30 years, humanity had been working in secret. The Council thought humans were primitive, aggressive but stupid. They had no idea what human desperation and ingenuity could accomplish when cornered. Chen allowed herself a small smile. In 6 months, everything would change. The galaxy had kept humanity in chains for half a century. Soon those chains would break, and the Council would learn that the most dangerous thing in the universe wasn't humanity's violence. It was humanity's patience. The Oort cloud was dark and cold, far beyond where any planet orbited the sun. Out here, ice chunks drifted through the void, remnants from when the solar system was born. Nobody came to this place. Nothing lived here. It was perfect for hiding humanity's greatest secret. Admiral Marcus Reeves floated in the observation deck of the command station, watching the shipyard through reinforced windows. Even after 3 years of commanding this operation, the sight still took his breath away. 12 warships hung in the darkness like sleeping giants. Each one stretched 2 kilometers long, their hulls smooth and black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. They looked like holes cut into space itself. No running lights. No visible weapons. Nothing that resembled the bright, colorful ships the other galactic species built. These ships were built for one purpose: to be invisible until the moment they struck. Admiral, Dr. Okonkwo is here, said Lieutenant Park, pulling Reeves from his thoughts. Dr. Sarah Okonkwo drifted into the observation deck, her gray hair floating around her face in the zero gravity. She had been the lead scientist on this project since the beginning, 15 years ago when it was just a theory written on paper. We received Chen's message, Okonkwo said without greeting. Olympus protocol is active. 6 months until we reveal ourselves. Reeves nodded slowly. Are we ready? The ships are ready. The question is whether the Council is ready for us. Okonkwo moved to the window and stared at the warships. She had named them herself, choosing gods from Earth's ancient mythologies: Zeus, Odin, Shiva, Anubis, Thor, Amaterasu. Each name represented human culture, human history, a reminder that these weapons came from a species the Council underestimated. Tell me again how this works, Reeves said. He had heard the explanation dozens of times, but he needed to understand. In simple terms, Okonkwo smiled. Everything in the universe is made of normal matter. Stars, planets, people, ships. But normal matter is only 5% of what exists. The rest is dark matter and dark energy. We can't see it or touch it, but it's everywhere, holding galaxies together. And we figured out how to use it. 30 years ago, a research team on Europa found something, a way to interact with dark matter particles. At first, it was just laboratory experiments, moving tiny amounts. But then we realized the potential. If we could manipulate dark matter on a large scale, we could change physics itself. She pointed at the nearest warship, the Zeus. Those ships don't just move through space. They shift partially into dark matter state. In that state, they can pass through normal matter like ghosts through walls. Sensors can't detect them because they're not entirely in normal space. And when they want to attack, they release dark matter as a weapon, Reeves finished. Exactly. Dark matter doesn't explode like missiles or burn like lasers. It disrupts the fundamental forces holding normal matter together. We can make a ship simply fall apart at the molecular level, or we can create localized gravity wells that crush targets, or generate temporal fields that freeze time itself. Reeves felt a chill despite the warm station air. The Council thinks this technology is impossible. They've been trying to crack dark matter manipulation for 1,000 years. Every species hit the same wall. The math says it should work, but the engineering never did. Okonkwo's expression grew proud. Humans approached it differently. We didn't try to force dark matter to obey our rules. We learned to work with it, adapt to its nature. Classic human stubbornness. How many people know about this project? On Earth? Maybe 5,000. Scientists, engineers, military personnel. Everyone carefully vetted. We built this entire facility using automated construction drones to minimize human presence. The Council has spy networks everywhere, even in Sol system. One leak would have been catastrophic. Reeves turned to look at the massive shipyard complex surrounding them. Hidden facilities, secret supply runs, 30 years of deception, all to build 12 ships. Show me what they can do, he said. An hour later, Reeves sat in the command center of the Zeus. The bridge was small compared to Council warships designed for a crew of only 50. Humans didn't need massive vessels. Their technology made size irrelevant. Target acquired, reported the tactical officer. Asteroid K447, composition primarily iron and nickel. Distance 50,000 kilometers. On the main screen, Reeves saw the asteroid tumbling slowly through space. It was huge, maybe 2 kilometers across. In the old days, such a rock would have required massive weapons to destroy. Activate phase drive, Reeves ordered. The lights dimmed as the Zeus channeled enormous energy into its dark matter systems. Reeves felt a strange sensation, like the ship was becoming less real, less solid. Through the windows, the stars began to look different, their light bending in odd ways. Phase drive active. We're now 40% into dark matter state, announced the helmsman. The asteroid is directly ahead, full speed. Pass through it, the Zeus accelerated. On the screen, the asteroid grew larger and larger. Any normal ship would have been destroyed on impact. But the Zeus simply slid through solid rock like it wasn't there. Reeves watched sensors showing the interior of the asteroid passing around them, through them, and then they were on the other side. Return to normal space. Prepare dark matter pulse minimum power. The ship solidified again. Reality snapped back into focus. Behind them, the asteroid continued tumbling, unaware of what had just passed through it. Dark matter pulse ready, said the weapons officer. Fire. A beam of nothing shot from the Zeus. Not light, not particles, just a wave of dark matter rushing toward the asteroid at light speed. When it hit, the effect was immediate and terrifying. The asteroid didn't explode. It simply folded in on itself like reality was crumpling it up. Rock and metal compressed impossibly, shrinking down until the entire 2-kilometer mass became a point of infinite density. A miniature black hole that flashed into existence for a fraction of a second before evaporating in a burst of Hawking. Radiation, the asteroid was gone completely, as if it had never existed. The bridge crew sat in stunned silence. That was minimum power? Reeves asked quietly. 5% output, confirmed the weapons officer, her voice shaking slightly. We could have hit it with 20 times that strength. Reeves stood from his command chair and looked at his crew. Young faces, most of them. They had trained for years in secret, knowing they might have to use these weapons. Now they understood what they were really carrying. Remember what you just saw, he told them. Remember how easy it was. These ships can do things the galaxy thinks is impossible. They can make us look like gods. But we're not gods. We're humans. And we need to stay human no matter what. He turned back to the screen where the asteroid had been. In 6 months, the Vraxian 4th Fleet would arrive at Earth, expecting an easy victory. They would find 12 ships waiting in the dark. Ships that could phase through their hulls, freeze them in time, or erase them from existence. The galaxy had kept humanity caged for 50 years. Soon, the cage would open, and everyone would see what humanity had become in the darkness. Admiral Krixthor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Conqueror's Pride, and watched Jupiter grow larger on the main display. Behind his vessel, 300 Vraxian warships moved in perfect formation, their hulls painted in the red and gold colors of the Empire. It was the largest fleet the Vraxians had sent into human space, and Krixthor expected it to be the last one needed. 6 months had passed since the Council's ultimatum. 6 months of preparation, of moving ships into position, of planning Earth submission. The time for negotiations had ended. All ships report ready, Admiral, said his second-in-command. We have established a complete blockade of the Sol system. No human ship can escape. Krixthor clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. 300 ships against humanity's small defense fleet. The outcome was certain. Humans would see his armada and surrender immediately. If they didn't, their ships would be destroyed within hours. Open all frequencies, Krixthor ordered. Let's give the humans a chance to be sensible. The communication officer worked his console, then nodded. All channels open, Admiral. We're broadcasting to Earth, Mars, and all human colonies. Krixthor stood tall, his forearms crossed over his armored chest. Attention, humanity. This is Admiral Krixthor of the Vraxian 4th Fleet, acting under the authority of the Galactic Council. Your period of preparation has ended. You will now submit to Council oversight. Power down your weapons. Open your shipyards for inspection. Prepare to receive Council administrators. You have 1 hour to comply. Resistance will be met with overwhelming force. Choose wisely. He cut the transmission and waited. Behind him, his crew worked their stations confidently. They had conquered worlds before. One small primitive species would barely be a challenge. "Admiral, we're detecting energy signatures near Earth's moon," reported the sensor officer. "Their defense fleet? Unknown, sir. The readings are strange. They appeared suddenly, but now they're fading. Like ghost signals," Crixthor frowned. "Scan the area thoroughly. I want to know what we're dealing with." Minutes passed. The sensor officer worked frantically, but his confusion only grew. "Admiral, I'm not finding anything." "There are no ships. No weapons platforms, nothing." "What about Earth's orbital defenses?" "Still there, but they're not powering up. In fact, they're powering down. Energy readings across all human installations are dropping rapidly." Crixthor felt uneasy. This wasn't right. Humans were supposed to be aggressive, confrontational. They should be scrambling to mount a defense, no matter how futile. Instead, everything was going dark. "Sir, we're losing communication," called out another officer. "All our channels just went dead." "Internal systems only." "What? How?" "Unknown. Some kind of interference. It's like something is blocking all electromagnetic signals outside the ship." Crixthor's unease turned to alarm. "Full sensor sweep. All frequencies. Find out what's interfering with our systems." The sensor officer's multiple eyes widened in fear. "Admiral, I'm reading nothing. Our sensors show empty space in every direction. No Jupiter, no Earth, no stars, no other ships in our fleet. That's impossible. Check your equipment." "I've checked, sir. The hardware is functioning perfectly, but it's like we're the only thing in the universe." Then the lights went out. Emergency lighting activated immediately, casting the bridge in dim red illumination. Alarm sounds filled the air. Crixthor spun around, trying to understand what was happening. "Report! Power fluctuations across all systems," came the panicked response. "Something is interfering with our reactor." "No, not interfering. It's like physics itself is changing around us." On the main display, which had been showing only darkness, something appeared. A ship, but not like any ship Crixthor had ever seen. It was black, impossibly black, absorbing light instead of reflecting it. And it was massive, easily twice the size of his flagship. Then another appeared, and another. 12 ships materialized around the Vraxian fleet like ghosts becoming solid. They hadn't approached. They hadn't been detected. They had simply appeared surrounding 300 warships without warning. Unknown vessels. "Identify yourselves," Crixthor demanded, trying to keep his voice steady. A transmission came through, audio only. The voice was human, male, calm, and controlled. "Admiral Crixthor, this is Admiral Marcus Reeves of Earth Fleet. You came here to demonstrate your strength. Allow us to demonstrate ours." Before Crixthor could respond, one of the black ships moved. It didn't fire weapons. It didn't launch missiles. It simply moved toward a Vraxian cruiser and passed through it, passed through solid hull like it was smoke. Crixthor watched in horror as the human ship emerged on the other side of the cruiser. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Vraxian vessel began to shake. Metal groaned. Internal systems sparked and died. The ship didn't explode. It simply fell apart, pieces separating and drifting away as if the forces holding it together had stopped working. "Fire," Crixthor shouted. "All ships fire on the human vessels." Across the fleet, weapons activated. Plasma cannons, kinetic accelerators, missile batteries, everything the Vraxian Empire had designed for war. Hundreds of weapons fired at once, enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The human ships didn't dodge. They didn't raise shields. The weapons simply passed through them, hitting empty space on the other side. Another human ship moved, this one toward a cluster of 50 Vraxian destroyers. It didn't attack. It released something, a field of energy that Crixthor's sensors couldn't identify. The 50 destroyers stopped moving. Completely. They hung in space, frozen, their engines silent, their weapons inactive. Even the emergency lights stopped blinking. "What's happening to them?" Crixthor demanded. "Sir, they're still there, but time has stopped inside that field. They're frozen in a temporal stasis. That technology doesn't exist." "It does now, Admiral." A third human ship approached Crixthor's flagship. He watched it come closer, his four hands gripping the command rail so hard his claws cut into the metal. The ship stopped just outside his bridge windows. Up close, he could see its surface, smooth and dark like looking into a void. The human voice returned. broadcasting directly into the Conqueror's pride. "We haven't destroyed a single ship, Admiral. We haven't killed a single member of your crew. We've simply disabled you. We want you to understand something very clearly. We could have destroyed your entire fleet in seconds. We could have erased you from existence before you even knew we were here, but we chose not to." Krixthor found his voice. What are you?" "We're human, and we're done being underestimated." Around the fleet, the remaining Vraxian ships hung helplessly in space. Systems disabled, weapons offline. Some frozen in time, others simply unable to move as human ships surrounded them. "You came to conquer," Admiral Reeves continued. "We chose to teach. Return to the Galactic Council, Admiral. Tell them what you saw here today. Tell them humanity claims its seat at the table not as subjects but as equals. Tell them the age of treating us like children is over." Slowly, the human ships began to release the disabled Vraxian vessels. Power returned. Systems came back online. The ships frozen in time began moving again. But weapons remained offline. Engines were limited to minimum power. "You have enough power to return home," Reeves said. "Use it. And remember this day." The 12 black ships faded away, becoming invisible once more. Krixthor's sensors couldn't track them. They had simply vanished back into the darkness, leaving the entire Vraxian Fourth Fleet helpless and humiliated. On Earth, in observation centers and command posts, humans watched the sensor recordings in stunned silence. They had known about the dark matter ships, but seeing them in action was different. Seeing 300 enemy vessels disabled without a single casualty. Without real violence, without anger. It was power beyond imagination. Wielded with perfect control, Ambassador Chen Wei received the recordings at Nexus Prime Station. She watched once, then again, then smiled. Tomorrow, she would address the Galactic Council, and everything would change. Across the galaxy on 100 worlds, news feeds exploded with urgent broadcasts. Impossible human technology. Vraxian fleet defeated without casualties. Power beyond understanding. The galaxy had just learned a new truth. Humanity was no longer the primitive species to be controlled. Humanity had become something the galaxy had never seen before. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so full. Every species had sent representatives. Every seat was occupied. Standing room overflowed with diplomats, military advisors, scientists, and journalists. The news from Sol System had spread across the galaxy in days, and now everyone wanted to hear the official response. High Arbiter Vexnor called the emergency session to order, though his mental voice lacked its usual confidence. The Council recognizes Ambassador Chen Wei of Earth. Chen walked to the center of the chamber. This time she didn't feel small. She wore Earth's full sovereign emblem on her uniform, not the probationary badge she had worn for 5 years. Her steps were confident. Her head was high. "Honored Council members," she began, her voice clear and strong. 3 days ago, the Vraxian Fourth Fleet entered Sol System with hostile intent. They came to enforce your ultimatum. They came to subjugate my people. They discovered that humanity has capabilities you did not expect. Angry voices erupted from multiple delegations. Counselor Thessiara stood, her telepathic presence radiating outrage. "You deceived us. You hid your military development. You built weapons in secret." "We built defenses in secret," Chen corrected calmly. "And we were forced to because the Council refused to treat us as equals. For 50 years, you blocked our expansion. You denied us technology. You sabotaged our trade. You called us dangerous while ignoring the empires that conquered and enslaved others. You attacked a Council-sanctioned fleet," shouted Admiral Krixthor, who stood in the military observer section. His mandibles clicked with anger, though Chen noticed he looked less confident than before. "We disabled a fleet," Chen said, "without casualties, without destruction. We demonstrated our capability and our restraint. Admiral, how many of your crew members died in the engagement?" Krixthor's silence was answer enough. "None," Chen continued. "Not one. Because humanity doesn't seek violence. We seek respect." Vexenor leaned forward in his seat. "This dark matter technology? Our scientists claim it's impossible. How did you achieve it?" "Humanity has always been good at achieving the impossible," Chen replied. "We split the atom when others said it couldn't be done. We reached our moon before we had computers in our homes. We survive in places that should kill us. When you tell humans something is impossible, we hear it as a challenge." A new voice spoke up, gentle and nervous. It belonged to Counselor Tickley of the Kilari. a peaceful species of herbivores who had never sought military power. Ambassador Chen, your ships, could they protect others, not just humanity? The question hung in the air. Chen saw understanding dawn on some faces, fear on others. The power dynamic had shifted completely. Species that had dominated the Council for centuries suddenly realized they were vulnerable. Species that had been bullied by those same powers suddenly saw hope for protection. The purpose of our fleet is defense, Chen said carefully. We have no interest in conquest. But we believe that peace requires strength, and strength should protect those who cannot protect themselves. You speak of protection while holding the entire Council hostage with your technology, accused Thessara. We're not holding anyone hostage. We're holding our position. There's a difference. Over the next hours, the debate raged. Some species wanted immediate alliance with humanity. Others wanted war. Most were simply terrified of what they couldn't understand. Chen listened to all of it, keeping her expression neutral even when accusations turned personal. During a break, she returned to her quarters and found an encrypted message waiting. It was from Dr. Okonkwo back in Sol System. Chen, we've detected unusual activity. Multiple species have formed a coalition. They're calling themselves the Preservation Alliance. Intelligence suggests they're planning a coordinated military response. We're seeing fleet movements from 6 different species. Numbers are estimated at over 2,000 ships. Chen felt her blood go cold. 2,000 ships. The demonstration with the Vraxian fleet had been meant to prevent war, not start one. But some species, it seemed, would rather die than accept a universe where humans were powerful. She returned to the council chamber for the afternoon session. Vexenor seemed to sense something had changed. Ambassador, are you prepared to continue? I am. But first I have a question for the council. We've been accused of hiding our capabilities, yet I noticed the Preservation Alliance has been moving military assets for the past 3 days. Ships from the Korath Dominion, the Zelnar Confederacy, the Thex Unity, and others. Over 2,000 vessels all converging on Sol System. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Many council members clearly hadn't known about this development. You spy on us now, demanded a Korath delegate. We protect ourselves, Chen replied. And we notice when multiple species prepare for war. So let me be very clear. If your alliance attacks Sol System, we will defend ourselves. We demonstrated restraint with the Vraxian fleet. We may not be able to do so with 2,000 ships. The threat was obvious. The Vraxian fleet had been disabled easily. What could 12 dark matter warships do to a force 7 times larger? This is precisely why humanity cannot be trusted, shouted the Korath delegate. You threaten the entire galaxy. We threaten no one who doesn't threaten us first, Chen shot back. The Preservation Alliance formed in response to our demonstration of defensive technology. You're planning to attack us because we dared to be strong enough to protect ourselves. Who exactly is the aggressor here? Vexenor raised his hands for silence. This council will not sanction further military action. The Preservation Alliance does not act with our authority. Then perhaps the council should think about who it really governs, Chen said quietly. For centuries, you've maintained peace through the threat of stronger species dominating weaker ones. The Vraxians kept smaller species in line. The Thessians manipulated minds. The Korath built their dominion through conquest, but you called it order, so you allowed it. She turned slowly, making eye contact with as many delegates as possible. Humanity offers something different. We offer true equality, backed by strength that won't be used for conquest. We offer technology that could transform the galaxy. Not just our military secrets. Dark matter manipulation could solve your energy crisis. It could enable faster-than-light travel beyond your current limits. It could terraform dead worlds into new homes for species that need them. You would share this technology? Asked Tickley, the Quillari counselor, with obvious hope. We would. But only with species that genuinely want peace. Only with a council that treats all its members as equals, not just the strong ones. Thessara's telepathic voice carried suspicion. And what do you want in return? There must be something. Full membership in the Galactic Council, Chen said simply. Not probationary status. Not conditional acceptance. Full membership, with the same rights and responsibilities as every other species. We want humanity to be part of the galactic community, not separate from it. We want our ships to explore alongside yours, our scientists to work with yours, our people to live and trade and grow with yours. She paused, letting her words sink in. But we want it as equals, and if the galaxy refuses that, If you insist on treating us as subjects or threats, then we will stand alone, protected by our technology, isolated by your fear. Is that the future you want?" The chamber fell silent. Chen could see the conflict on different faces. Fear, hope, calculation, anger. Every species was weighing the same question. Was it safer to have humanity as an ally or as an enemy? Vexnor finally spoke. "This council requires time to deliberate. We will recess for 3 days to allow all members to consult with their governments." As the session ended and delegates filed out, Chen remained in the center of the chamber for a moment. 3 days. In 3 days, the Preservation Alliance fleet would reach Sol system. In 3 days, the council would decide humanity's fate. She sent a message to Admiral Reeves. "Prepare the fleet. We may need to prove ourselves one more time." His response was immediate. "Already prepared. Let's hope diplomacy works. But if it doesn't, we'll show them why humanity survived every challenge our own planet threw at us." Chen left the chamber and looked out a window at the stars. Somewhere out there, 2,000 ships were coming, and 12 dark matter warships waited in the darkness of Sol system, ready to defend Earth against whatever came. The galaxy was about to learn its final lesson about humanity. They had seen Earth's power. Soon, they would see Earth's resolve. The Preservation Alliance arrived at Sol system exactly 3 days later, just as intelligence had predicted. 2,147 ships from 6 different species, all united by one goal: eliminate the human threat before it could grow stronger. Admiral Marcus Reeves watched them approach on his command display aboard the Zeus. The enemy fleet was massive, filling space with vessels of every size and design: battleships, carriers, destroyers, cruisers. Enough firepower to turn a planet's surface to glass. "All ships report ready." "Admiral," said Lieutenant Park. "Dark matter systems at full power." Reeves nodded but didn't give any orders yet. Beside him, Dr. Okonkwo watched the approaching fleet with concern. "Marcus, there are too many. Even with our technology, if we try to disable all of them individually, some will get through. If even a few dozen ships reach Earth." "I know," Reeves said quietly, "which is why we're not going to disable them individually." He activated the fleet-wide communication channel. "All ships, this is Zeus Actual. Prepare to execute Olympus shield formation on my mark. Remember your training. Remember what we're protecting." The Alliance fleet crossed the orbit of Neptune, moving in tight formation. Their commander, a Korath named Drekthar, broadcast a message toward Earth. "Humanity, you have 2 choices. Surrender your dark matter technology and submit to council authority, or be destroyed. You have 5 minutes to decide." In the command center on Earth's moon, Ambassador Chen Wei stood with Earth's military leadership. She had returned from Nexus Prime Station to be present for whatever happened next. "We don't negotiate with invasion forces," she said firmly. "Admiral Reeves, you have authorization to defend Sol system by any means necessary." "Understood," Reeves replied over the channel. He turned to his crew. "Execute Olympus shield. All ships activate." Across the solar system, 12 dark matter warships channeled their full power into a coordinated action they had practiced for months, but never tested at full scale. Energy readings spiked. Reality itself seemed to bend around each vessel. Then, impossibly, the 12 ships expanded. Not physically, but their dark matter fields grew, stretching out and connecting with each other. Like 12 points forming a sphere, the fields interlocked, creating a massive barrier that encompassed the entire inner solar system: Earth, Mars, the asteroid belt, all protected behind a wall of dark matter that glowed with impossible energy. Commander Drekthar watched his sensors in disbelief. "What? What is that?" "It's a complete defensive sphere," reported his science officer, voice shaking. "It's surrounding everything from the sun out to the asteroid belt. The field extends across billions of cubic kilometers. The energy required to maintain it should be impossible. Fire all weapons. Test its strength." The Alliance fleet opened fire. Every ship, every weapon, all at once. Plasma beams, kinetic rounds, antimatter missiles, exotic energy weapons from a dozen different technologies. Enough destructive power to annihilate 100 planets hit the dark matter barrier and accomplish nothing. The weapons simply vanished into the field, absorbed and dissipated. The barrier didn't even flicker. It was like throwing stones at the ocean trying to hurt water itself. Again, Drekthar ordered. Keep firing! For 6 hours, the Alliance fleet poured weapons fire into the barrier. They tried coordinating strikes at single points. They tried spreading attacks across wide areas. They tried every frequency, every type of weapon, every tactical approach their combined military knowledge could devise. Nothing worked. The barrier remained perfect and impenetrable. Inside the barrier on Earth, people watched the light show in the sky and felt a strange mixture of awe and relief. The galaxy had come to destroy them, and humanity had simply said no. Not with violence, not with counterattack, just an absolute refusal to be harmed. Admiral Reeves watched the Alliance fleet exhaust itself and opened a communication channel. Commander Drekthar, you've been firing for 6 hours. Your weapons are depleting. Your crews are tired, and you haven't even scratched our defenses. Drekthar's response was filled with frustration. You cannot maintain this forever. Eventually, your power will fail. Actually, we can maintain it indefinitely, Reeves replied. Dark matter is everywhere. It's infinite. We're not running out of ammunition or energy. We're drawing power from the very fabric of space itself. But you're burning through supplies. How long until your fleet runs out? Days, weeks? The implication was clear. The Alliance fleet could sit outside the barrier and starve, or they could retreat. Those were the only options. Dr. Okonkwo activated another channel, this one broadcasting to the entire Alliance fleet, not just its commander. This is Dr. Sarah Okonkwo, speaking to all species in the Preservation Alliance. You came here because you fear human technology. You fear what we might do with this power. I understand that fear. But let me tell you what humans actually want to do. She pulled up holographic displays showing research data, energy calculations, and engineering specifications. Dark matter manipulation can revolutionize your civilizations. It can provide unlimited clean energy. It can make faster-than-light travel accessible to every species, not just the wealthy ones. It can restore dead worlds, cure diseases caused by genetic damage from radiation, and terraform planets in decades instead of centuries. She paused, letting the information sink in. We're not hiding this technology to control you. We're offering to share it, but we're not going to be bullied into sharing it. We're not going to hand over the keys to unlimited power to species that tried to destroy us. If you want this technology, if you want to be part of humanity's future, then you need to make peace with us. Real peace. As equals. Aboard the Alliance flagship, Drekthar's crew began arguing among themselves. Some wanted to continue the siege. Others pointed out the futility. A few, particularly the Quilari, who had been pressured into joining the Alliance, openly questioned why they were fighting humanity at all. 3 days passed. The Alliance fleet sat outside the barrier, unable to advance, unwilling to retreat. Ships began running low on supplies, crews grew restless, and every day more species in the Alliance started asking themselves the same question. What were they really fighting for? On the 4th day, the Quilari ships broke formation and approached the barrier. Their commander sent a simple message. Humanity, we wish to discuss peace. May we enter your space? Reeves consulted with Earth's leadership, then replied, You may enter. Proceed to Luna Station. We'll talk. A section of the barrier opened, just large enough for the Quilari ships to pass through, then sealed behind them. The demonstration was clear. Humanity could control the barrier precisely. They weren't trapped inside. They were choosing to remain protected. Over the next week, 3 more species broke from the Alliance and entered negotiations. The Thex Unity, the Zelnar Confederacy, even some of the smaller Korath vessels whose crews were tired of following Drekthar's increasingly desperate orders. Finally, on the 11th day, Drekthar himself requested to speak with human leadership. Ambassador Chen Wei met him in a neutral conference room on Luna Station. The Korath commander looked exhausted, his scales dull from stress. You've proven your point, Drekthar said without preamble. We cannot force you to do anything. So I ask, what do you want? I already told the council, Chen replied. We want to be part of the galactic community. We want full membership, equal rights, and mutual respect. We want to share our technology with species that are willing to work toward genuine peace. And we want an end to the idea that strong species get to control weak ones. You're proposing to restructure the entire galactic power balance. I'm proposing that strength should be used to protect, not to dominate. The galaxy has been running on the old model for too long. Maybe it's time to try something new. The negotiations took another 2 weeks. Ambassador Chen Wei, Admiral Reeves, Dr. Okonkwo, and representatives from Earth's government worked with the Galactic Council to craft a new agreement. The New Galactic Compact, they called it. Under the compact, all species were granted equal voice in council decisions, not weighted by military power. Technology sharing would be managed through a neutral body to prevent arms races. Species with advanced capabilities would be obligated to help defend weaker members against aggression, and humanity would receive full membership immediately, along with a seat on the Council's Security Directorate. Most importantly, humanity agreed to share dark matter technology gradually over the next decade, training scientists from willing species and building joint research facilities. The technology would be available to everyone, but only under strict agreements that it would never be used for conquest. Not every species accepted the compact. The Korath Dominion refused and withdrew from the Council entirely. A few others followed. But 41 of the 47 species signed, creating a new foundation for galactic peace. 5 years later, Admiral Marcus Reeves stood on the observation deck of a joint human-Quilari exploration vessel named the Unity. He was retired from active command now, but still consulted on dark matter ship operations and trained new commanders from a dozen different species. Through the window, he watched 3 new dark matter warships move through their training exercises. One was crewed entirely by Quilari. Another had a mixed crew of humans and Thessians, working together despite their species' long history of mistrust. The third was experimental, testing dark matter applications for peaceful exploration rather than military purposes. Dr. Okonkwo joined him at the window. She was older now, her hair completely white but her eyes still bright with curiosity. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" she asked. Reeves smiled. "When we were building those ships in the dark beyond Pluto? No, I thought we were preparing for war. I thought we'd have to fight for everything. But we didn't fight. We just stood firm." "Sometimes that's harder than fighting," Reeves said. "It would have been easy to strike back, to use all that power to hurt the species that had hurt us. But we chose something different." They watched the ships dance through space, practicing maneuvers, learning to work together. Human voices mixed with alien ones over the communication channels, solving problems together, building something new. "The Council is talking about a joint mission to explore beyond the galactic rim," Okonkwo said. 20 ships all equipped with dark matter drives. Mixed crews from 15 species. They're asking if you'll come out of retirement to lead it." Reeves considered it. "Maybe, if they ask nicely," she laughed. "After everything we've been through, I think they'll ask very nicely." On Earth, in the Historical Museum, a new exhibit had opened. It displayed the story of the dark matter warships, from their secret construction to their role in changing galactic politics. The centerpiece was a hologram of the Olympus Shield, that moment when 12 ships protected an entire system from 2,000 attackers without firing a single shot. The exhibit's closing text read, "Humanity didn't conquer the stars by being the strongest. We earned our place by proving that strength without cruelty, power without tyranny was possible." The galaxy would never forget the day Earth's dark matter warships took the stage, not because of what they destroyed, but because of what they chose to protect. Children from dozens of species visited the exhibit, learning about the day everything changed. And somewhere in the darkness beyond the galaxy, the exploration fleet prepared to venture into the unknown, carrying humans and aliens together into a future that neither could have achieved alone. The galaxy had tested humanity's power. Humanity had answered with patience, restraint, and hope. And in doing so, they had shown everyone what the future could be.